You are. No, we're
now
starting.
Now that we're on, she's stopping the naughty words.
Because you are one of the best negotiators I know, and negotiators have to be really quick on their feet. So don't sit here and tell me that you're not good at thinking up answers quickly. Because if this was a negotiation session, you'd be all over it.
Okay.
Welcome back to Started from the Bottom. I am your host, Susan Peterson. Today, I have one of the best negotiators I know in studio, Eric Woodley. Eric is a managing partner at Woodley Real Estate. He directs Woodley Real Estate's commercial portfolio and oversees aspects of tenant representation, build-to-suite negotiations, real estate development, real estate investment, acquisitions, and dispositions. And if you need a pair of AirPod Maxes, go to his office. You hate me right now. Eric specializes in negotiating competitive agreements that uniquely position his clients to achieve their great success. Creative problem solving, sharp negotiations are his strengths and have drawn many of Utah's biggest companies to rely on him for their dynamic real estate needs. He's passionate about the Utah tech community. He's an active investor in both direct investments as well as a current LP in several of the seed funds in the state. Eric is also a partner in local home offices that is real estate centric with assets across the country. Eric received his bachelor's degree in business management from Utah Valley University. Oh, you're old.
I am old.
And
43 big ones.
You're 43. You're younger than me. He's a master of real estate development from University of Utah. Eccles School of Business. That's where he got his master's. Eric resides in Highland, Utah with his wife and 3 children. Hi, Eric.
Where did we get that bio? Because I didn't give that to you.
I know. I pulled it off the internet.
I'll let it go, non-sick person. Fire away.
I'm not sick.
Okay.
Right. Eric, how did you get started?
In real estate?
Yeah.
I moved out here in...
From where?
2000 from Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
Came off an LDS mission from Paraguay and...
Wait, you went to Paraguay?
Went to Paraguay.
Oh, my sister...
Yo hablo español.
Sí, señor.
Un poco.
Sí, jefa. Jefe. My sister and her husband actually just moved back from Paraguay.
Wow.
They were in the embassy down there. Okay, so you went...
Crazy place, yeah.
Yeah.
So I had my 2 brothers going to BYU, and I came out to live with them in the the Riviera.
Yeah.
It's really nice accommodations.
Mm-hmm. Were they your older brothers?
Older brothers, yep. And today I share a fence with 2 of my brothers, and my other 2 live close by. But anyhow, yeah, went to go live with them at the Riviera and just shared a room with them and got into UVSC at the time. And my rent was about 4 times what theirs was because at BYU it gets discounted via, I believe, tithing funds, but somehow the tuition's a lot less. So I actually had to have a job. They just kind of enjoyed life a little bit. I think they had some scholarship and got some jobs down the road, but out of the gate, I felt a lot more pressure on that front.
Because you were paying out-of-state tuition?
Yes,
oh,
correct.
Right, because you're from Oregon.
That's right, yeah, from Oregon. And so, anyhow, yeah, that started my residency in Utah. Was in 2000, fall of 2000.
What was your job that you got?
So our father was a fireman. Raised 6 kids on that, and so I couldn't really get FAFSA or anything like that out of the gate because my dad made too much but not enough to really help a lot on that front. And so had to get a job quick. So I went and I thought, well, I guess I can sell things. And so I thought about maybe jewelry stores in the mall.
Yeah.
Thought about cars. Thought cars were cool, like those.
Yeah.
I'd helped a little bit with real estate back in the day. It's a little harder to get into. Barrier to entry is a little bit trickier in college. And so I went to Kingarf, I believe it was like the 3rd or 4th car dealership I went to, just kind of knocking the door asking for a job. And I met a guy there, Bill McDermott, interviewed me and said, hey, I'll give you a shot. And it didn't exactly go like that. I got shut down pretty hard the first few times. A lot of choice words like, have you ever sold cars before? I'm like, no. They're like, get the F out of here. Waste our time, you know. Mm-hmm. But that was my first job I had, was at the Nissan, Volkswagen, Audi, Porsche dealership right across the street from the mall up there, right on University Parkway. And I worked there for a few months.
I think that, how do you deal with, I'm gonna interrupt you a lot, and then I'm gonna let you keep telling your story. But how do you deal with rejection? Because like 3 places being like, get out of here.
Yeah.
And then you're like, well, this still feels like a great idea. I think I'm still gonna sell cars.
Yeah, that was 23 years ago for me, 22 years ago. So it was, I was coming right off an LDS mission, so you feel a little bit unstoppable, I think, a bit. I guess the difference here was like I didn't really have a backstop. And so you couldn't really take no for an answer. And so, at first I was kind of like, man, that guy's kind of a dick. Why is he being so rude?
Yeah, like it's his problem, not
that's
you.
That's crazy, yeah. And, you feel humiliated. You feel a little embarrassed. You question yourself a little bit. But just keep going.
How about now? Like Kris Jenner says, if you get the answer no, you asked the wrong person. Do you agree with that?
I mean, I think you still feel a lot of those emotions when you get shut down. I don't know that ever leaves per se. I guess the difference now versus then was I do have a little bit more optionality than I did back then. I'm not quite as pegged against the wall as I used to be, maybe.
Yeah, but like if someone tells you no, I mean, I've been on the receiving end of the Woodley, you need to come over here, we're going to represent you kind of thing. Yeah. And you just like keep pushing. It's like, you feel like that's your superpower?
I feel like that's your superpower.
No, come on. Yeah. I learned it from you.
Yeah. You're very aggressive to get me on here.
Persuasive.
Yeah.
What about you, though? Do you feel like that's like, you're really good at getting clients and you're persuasive?
I mean, I feel like, there's definitely that aspect of our business, but I real estate sincerely interests me. Mm-hmm. Entrepreneurs and their business and just, what they're able to build has always fascinated me.
Yeah.
And so I think there's an inherent, like, real interest there that is engaging. Like, your story is an insane, cool story. I mean, I didn't even know what those baby mocks were when we first met, truthfully. And just getting to know you and, how you'd built this amazing company was like super cool. And then it was like, wife's like, oh, how's work today? Or was, I met this gal, Susan. She had oh my gosh, freshly picked. That's great. It's like just kind of cool. But yeah.
Okay. So you're selling cars.
I'm selling cars and I'm a freshman at UVSC and living in the Riv.
The Riviera.
I had pretty good success there for a bit. Made a decent amount of money. I remember the first month maybe I made a couple $1,000, and then this was back in 2000, right? And so then I think like in the second or third month I was like top salesman, and I sold maybe like 12 cars or something like that. I made like $4,000 or $5,000, and they gave me a demo. It was like that Audi 4A Quattro. It was like that blue looking one. They let me take it home as a demo for the weekend. And I thought I was just on, cloud nine.
Like you made it. You don't need to do anything else in life.
I literally was like, okay, I'm retired next.
Yeah. Like, am I the richest person I know? Probably.
And so, that carried on for a bit. And then, it just one of those things, going to school full time, hang out with buddies, selling cars. Life was, pretty fulfilled, doing well. I just at the end of the day, the industry was tough for me. I couldn't control, the full cycle. You'd come in, you'd meet these cool people, help them with their car, and maybe they had a bad experience or whatnot. You'd kind of defer them to your manager or whatnot, and they'd, it just got to be a little bit tricky. I remember, specifically one Saturday, I'd sold this car to a young couple, and they came back on a Monday and like, hey, look, we spent all weekend thinking about it. We couldn't even sleep. We don't know what we were thinking. We probably shouldn't have picked up this car. We kind of want to send it back. And in the car business, you call that rolling back. It's a rollback, right?
Okay.
And I went back to my boss at the time, desk manager, like, hey, look, this couple wants to, get rid of this, give us back this car. They can't really afford it. They're going to school. They're not really just kind of caught in the moment. And he's like, yeah, well, why don't you go back and tell them I've been thinking about it over this weekend, and they need to keep that damn car because we're not taking it back. And, it's not like I'm some like good Samaritan, Mother Teresa, but I just didn't sit well with me. I hated that. And, there's a few experiences like that I just didn't love, truthfully. It's a tougher industry. Learned a lot. I mean, that's, a really good way to learn grassroots sales and, customer service and things like that. But across the street was Harmon's Real Estate Academy. And I remember that day going, okay, I need to get out of here. This is crazy. And so at my lunch, I would go across the street and I would start chipping away. You didn't really have online courses back then. They were all live classes. So I'd pop over there at Harmon's Real Estate Academy and get my license. And I grabbed the yellow pages. So not really a whole lot. There was internet, but I wasn't really that privy to it. And there's still the flip phone days, like the Razor.
Yeah, and it was all dial-up, right?
I don't know if it was still AOL or not. Yeah, it probably was. Yeah. I remember a lot of my letters from the mission were handwritten, not emails, very few. But anyhow, so I grabbed the yellow page, pulled them up, and I started with the A's, and it was like, literally, I remember it was like an ABC Realty, and then it was Affiliated Realty Group. It was like the second call I made, and Brent DeMille answered the phone at Affiliated Realty Group, and he said, hey, how can I help you? I'm like, I'm just looking for a job, real estate, taking my class across the street. He's like, we don't really like hire people in real estate. You go get your license, you come hang it with us, and if you sell something, we make some money. If not, like get lost kind of thing. And
kick some rocks.
Yeah, but he's like, but you know what? Let me have you talk to some guys in the office. They might want some help or whatever. So he transferred me to Dean Ingram, Steve Maddox. Back then, they just barely transferred over from Mansell and started Affiliated with Brent DeMille. And they gave me a chance. So they helped pay for some of my schooling. Gave me a fixed $750 every 2 weeks, kind of advance. And then I helped them. So as I went and sold things, they got the money. I'd paid them back for what they had paid me. And that's really how we got my start in real estate. And it was predominantly investment sales in BYU kind of housing area.
Oh, you started in student housing.
Yeah.
Wow. And then how was the transition from that to like your big Woodley Real Estate that you're running now?
Yeah. In our building in Troon Park on State Street in Orem, birthed a lot of really cool companies.
Yeah.
And we were fortunate enough to help a lot of those individuals with their, residential business as well as their commercial business. So it's like, hey, look, I know you just helped us with this investment property or this home or, can you also help us with our company? I need a warehouse here. I need some office there. And it's like, yeah, of course. Figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course you can.
Yeah.
I'll be out with that, And
yeah, you always say yes first.
Yeah, I'm like, of course. Yeah, we'll figure that out. And in real estate, I don't know, a lot of people don't know this, but like, it's not very popular to do residential and commercial. In fact, it's very frowned upon. A lot of our competitors actually use that against us, like, oh, those resi guys or whatever, are used to a little bit. And, I remember the first couple deals we did, I'd call up and like, hey, do you just want to hand this to me and I'll send you a referral fee? I mean, it's kind of cute that you want to do this, but why don't you just keep selling those investment properties? You don't really know what you're doing. So, the whole fake it till you make it. I mean, we did, you learn by doing deals and deals beget deals. And so truthfully, it just started very elementary, just like that. Right.
And then when did you make the breakout onto your own?
So Affiliated got acquired by Prudential, who got acquired by Berkshire. And we, my brothers and I, we always kind of operated under our own.
Oh, Warren Buffett's company?
Yes, yeah. But it was Berkshire Home Services, which we, in real estate, people always, work under teams, generally speaking. Yeah. We always worked under a Woodley team. So for us, the company was great. We liked the camaraderie, but we always just kind of operated under our own kind of group. But we didn't control any of the main brokerage licensing or trust accounts and things like that. And so, when that happened, we were just like, you know what? Time to rip the Band-Aid off. And I was a broker at the time anyways. I just didn't hang it as the principal. I was just an associate broker. And So we're like, hey, you know what? It's probably time to go branch out, get our own brand. It's going to hurt our commercial business quite a bit if it's like Berkshire Home Services. When it's Prudential, it didn't really matter. This Prudential, commercial, Prudential, residential. But when it changed that brand, it got pretty tough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what year was that?
Honestly, it's been about 10 years now. I don't know. It would have been maybe like 2012 or something like that, somewhere in that range, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then now you guys run the state.
Yeah.
Here we are.
Yeah. No,
present
definitely not. So
at least Utah County.
Yeah. We operate a high touch, white glove kind of real estate boutique that, services a lot of the, the tech community and products.
Yeah.
But we're able to work with a lot of really cool people, and we're super fortunate to do what we do in the state of Utah. It's unlike most other states. It's unparalleled, and even through COVID, we're super grateful. There's a lot of colleagues of ours, associates that we do deals with on the coast that it's just a complete different situation right now.
Yeah. Talk to me about growing up with 4 brothers, 1 sister. Is that right?
So I grew up with 4 brothers, a half brother I didn't know about till I was 25, and a sister
that you knew about or didn't know
that I didn't know about. So my sister's the oldest.
Okay.
And then I have brother Ryan, Bryson, myself, and John. So Bryson, me, and John are all in business together. And then our youngest brother, Lauren. So we were a big old happy family. Grew up on a hazelnut orchard in Woodburn, Oregon till middle school, and then moved to Ashland. So,
did you guys have a farm when you moved?
No, in Ashland we did not. So it was my mom's side of the family. So,
do you feel like growing up on a farm influenced the way you work now?
I like to think we worked hard as kids, and I think, we had work units on Saturday and things, but it wasn't like I was driving tractor at 8 or something like that. I mean, I was certainly out there in it during the harvest and helping, and, we did crazy things like picking worms, like you'd throw the solution in between the hazelnut trees and it would choke out the worms, so they'd come out and you'd pick them up in the middle of the night. It's the only time you could do it with a headlamp. I remember doing that when I was super young, or, messing around in the totes of hazelnuts and things like that. But I think the biggest thing growing up on a farm was there was just always something to do. It was active, it was outside, and we relied a lot on just our cousins and our immediate siblings. Like, we didn't have a lot of friends on the farm, right? It was a decent drive to get there. So I think that bred a lot of confidence and just camaraderie, and that's hard to artificially create, right? Nowadays, there's just so much distraction. It's hard to recreate that.
Yeah. What's the scrappiest thing you've done?
Scrappiest thing I've done. Well, you might have to cut this because it might take me a while to think of it.
That's all right. We got time. Woodley.
Scrappiest thing, certainly living
Go ahead.
in a third world country for 2 years is, I know that's kind of like a, vanilla Mormon answer, but that was pretty intense. Not totally speaking the language, going by bus 6 hours into like the Campo in a foreign place was pretty intimidating.
Yeah, that's pretty scrappy.
I think, moving out here, and then when all my brothers left and I was left out here in Utah by myself, felt pretty, similar, felt pretty alone. I don't know, you call that scrappy. I've been super fortunate to always have, first and second world needs satisfied. Like, I've never really scrapped for like roof over my head or food on my plate,
Yeah. I think those are both scrappy. I want to talk about how you build relationships. I think it's like second nature for you, or first nature. So is it second nature? Is that the term? Yeah. What's first nature?
I think building relationships, I don't think I think it just has to be real, right? So like, there's just some people that I just won't be able to build a relationship with because I'm not a fake individual, and I just might not like their vibe. I feel like I have a pretty good spidey senses, and sometimes like people just weird me out, or I think they have weird intentions, or maybe it's vice versa. So they, but I think for me it comes natural because I enjoy people. I enjoy, I value different perspectives, and I truly am interested in people's, unique nature. That fascinates me. I love just having random conversations with people.
Yeah.
And so I think that part it comes natural. Now, do I like to, being in a service industry, do I like to just, not talk to people sometimes? Absolutely.
Sure.
But I think just inherently who I am, I enjoy people.
Yeah.
I'm sincerely interested in them. And if I'm not, I won't have that, conversation. I won't try and build that relationship.
Do you think it comes from curiosity or generosity?
Curiosity. I don't think I'm naturally like this generous person.
Yeah, right. Let's call 3 people right now and ask them.
Yeah. Just dial a friend.
Yeah, give me your phone. I'm going to call 3 people. And I mean, I've experienced, you may think that, but like I can remember a late night Friday night call with you and John. It was like 10 p.m. That's like generous to give up a Friday night.
Well, we had like built a pretty long-term relationship at that point. There was like a lot of stress around that, and sincerely, I wanted to make sure it all worked out. And it did. It worked out really good.
Putting it lightly. That was wild.
Oh, you can't do long podcasts. People lose interest, and
no, people actually, you're totally wrong. Actually, podcasts that are over an hour do like.
Oh boy. Do you marry 2 podcasts together sometimes?
No. Okay. So if you had to guess, how long do you think we've been recording?
20, 30 minutes.
Oh, it does feel long for you. It feels, I started 10 minutes late and now I have 13 minutes and I'm shocked because I like talking to you. And so it doesn't feel like it's that long.
Stop it.
No, podcasts over an hour do so much better than podcasts under an hour.
I would not have thought that.
I know, it's wild.
It's my ADD showing.
You don't listen to podcasts though, do you?
No. Never
what do you
listen to a podcast
in the car?
Most of the time I'm on my phone, or listening to country music, 101.5. You
listen to country music?
Yeah.
I just had a conversation with someone where I feel like country music gets a lot of hate.
Really?
Yeah, you don't know this because you don't.
It makes me happy.
It makes you happy. I feel like country music is a requirement in the summer. You have to listen. I feel like it's required listening. I love it. Especially
in the winter.
In the winter, it's up to you. I feel like it's not required. Abby and I were setting up a studio yesterday, and we listened to country music the whole time.
See, there you go.
Yeah, Abby has roots in Alabama, so she has to too. It's required.
Love that.
Yeah. Okay, so I think you're saying back to relationships.
Yeah.
You guys, I wish you guys could all feel the tension in the room right now because Eric. What do you hate more, people that back out on deals or talking about yourself?
I'm just like fairly private person.
You hate talking about yourself.
I don't love social, but
social media, you mean?
Yeah. And this is, just like you expose yourself to the world. I don't enjoy that, number one, but I am a social stalker. Like I'm obviously not on podcasts. I probably should do better, but like that's how you get some of your news. But yeah, I don't enjoy this at all.
I know you, but you don't mind talking to me
without a mic in my mouth that's getting recorded. Yeah, I do like talking.
I'm not gonna make you look stupid. I'm gonna make you look so smart.
Yeah.
It's not hard. You're already smart. But Eric is so uncomfortable right now. This is maybe the most uncomfortable conversation we've ever had.
Okay, all right.
But
I haven't done 56 of these, so maybe at 56 I'd be a little more.
Let's start a podcast. You have a great podcasting voice.
Okay. Okay, that's good.
You have a great podcasting voice. You have a great story. I literally had to bribe Eric to come in. I literally told him and his brother that I was going to go with a different real estate agent if he didn't come in and podcast. And did that get you? Or was it just because you feel like you owe me?
No, it was the Saturday text that got me. I'm like, okay, I sidebar John. I'm like, I think she's serious. She's blowing us up on a Saturday. Honestly, this is crazy. I said, I'm going to figure out Monday. We're going to find a time and I'm going to do it.
The reason why I felt so strongly about bringing you in is because you fly so far under the radar. But you love it, right?
I mean, I don't fly under the radar. I mean, like on social media or what? Or just like...
Just in general, I think people who know you, but you're never out there self-promoting.
I mean, we do a little... I mean, we advertise with the Jazz.
I know, but you guys are kind of like our relationship and the work we do for you is going to speak for itself.
Yeah, true. Yeah, that's very true. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, we've had lots of opportunities to hang a global flag, right?
Yeah.
And we choose to stay a high touch, real estate boutique that carries our name.
Yeah.
And that means a lot to us, and like the service we provide and the experience. Truthfully, money will come if you do that. And I think if you go into a deal just really trying to provide the best service possible, people aren't dumb. They get that.
Yeah. I mean, and someone who's closed 4 deals with you guys, like 5 actually, now that I think about it, on both the commercial and the residential side, and felt like I was really taken care of. And I could call you at 10 p.m. at night and both you and John are going to get on the call and help me solve this problem. I feel like your service does speak for yourself, but then as your friend, I also feel like...
You took advantage of the friendship on this.
No, stop. As your friend, I also feel like every time someone asks me, I have this issue, I'm like, call the Woodleys. They're going to take care of you. And as your friend, I just want to shine a spotlight on you because I think you're so interesting and so cool.
Well, that's nice.
It's true.
You're making me blush.
You're not blushing. Abby, is he? No. Lying. He's lying. It's a sales guy in him. Just kidding. Okay, so back to relationships. Yeah. I feel like you're really good at not only cultivating them, but maintaining them. And you're saying that it just comes from being interested in people.
Yeah, I mean, I think most of our relationships are friends. We view them as friends. So it doesn't take a lot of effort to chat with a friend. So if you're speaking to business relationships, like most all of our clients, I would consider a friend. And it doesn't take a lot of effort, to connect with a friend. We're fortunate in that. That doesn't mean we don't have uncomfortable conversations on occasion, or, we've certainly been through a couple years of just a lot of pressure. Mm-hmm. And so when people are under the gun, sometimes, the situation feels, you say, this is an uncomfortable conversation. I don't know. It's like, so maybe, I don't know, it gets a little bit different that way, but, relationships matter a lot. They're everything in a service industry, and they're everything in certainly a real estate service industry where there's almost zero barrier to entry to get a license. And I mean, pretty much you used to have a heartbeat and you can do it. And so, we feel like we add a lot of value in the transaction. And our clients, we hope, can speak to that if we do our job right. But that's not always how people see it. And so, and we realize that, we recognize that, and we appreciate it when people speak the good word of Woodley, and, and they expect us to continue to provide that level of service. So
you guys do a great job. Okay. So negotiating.
Yeah.
Does this also come naturally to you?
Yeah. It's funny. I was just having a conversation about this yesterday. I think, You know, I think good negotiators, it can be taught a little bit, but I think you're just kind of like born with that ability. It can be learned, but maybe not to like the highest level. But yeah. I think a lot of and I'm not saying I'm at that level by any means, but I think a lot of negotiating is trying to, number one, there's always emotion surrounding real estate transaction because it's high dollar, high risk, high reward type scenario. It's aside from human capital, it's the largest expense from a company standpoint. And so, all the top decision makers generally are involved in it. And so there's just a lot of pressure around that. Right. And so, you gotta always put yourself in their situation, which sounds, kind of, silly to say, but because of course we all know that, but in the moment you have to be thinking, where are they coming from? And I think that helps break down the situation a lot and helps you really understand where you need to get there, because at the end of the day, a good deal is good for both parties, not just one side. Maybe one time it's good for one side, but a sustainable relationship and deal making, it needs to be good for both sides. And, I'd say the other piece of negotiation is you always got to keep that like constant pressure there during the whole process, because, if there's too much downtime or if there's too much give too quickly and you kind of forget some of those, steps of how you got there or why you're there, it can become a little bit tricky. And so I think just, you always hear that saying of like, always be closing. I think it's like, just always be thinking of, what's at play here and why. And you can't, once you get past one step, you can't forget that past step. You got to realize like that's still part of the makeup, the ingredients of how you're hopefully getting to the end result, which is a happy, both sides of the table. So
some of my, worst negotiating experiences have been where the other person is like too emotional.
Oh yeah.
And feel like they are doing you a favor by giving you a shitty deal.
Yeah. Totally.
And how do you get past that?
Sometimes the answer is sometimes you don't. You can't always take the emotion out of it. And sometimes there needs to be some emotion there, because some people's, language is, maybe a little bit of a raised voice or a little bit of a takeaway, because otherwise they just don't even understand, or they're not willing to listen, and you don't always get that right.
Yeah.
For sure. You don't always get that right. And if my natural response to when people heighten the situation is I get calmer and calmer and calmer. That's not necessarily a good thing.
Right.
Sometimes it can be, but unless I'm like in the heat of a battle where I have, otherwise I just kind of like, it's funny. Like I'll be driving on the freeway, and if someone's like road raging me or cutting me off, or if I almost get in an accident, just accidentally, like I feel like the world slows down for me. It's weird. I don't know how to explain it, but.
Oh, so naturally you're getting calmer. That's not like a conscious.
It's weird. Yeah, no, it's just naturally, it's odd.
For me, it's a conscious like, oh, I've seen this work, and I've probably because really good negotiators get calmer. But like, I've seen it work. And so if someone comes at me emotionally, I'm just like, I just calm down, but it's a learned thing for me.
Interesting. Yeah. I don't know what it comes from, or if it's good or bad. It's how it is.
It's really good. I think it works for you. Who's your favorite type of person to negotiate with then?
My favorite kind of person to negotiate with?
I assume negotiating is fun for you. Is it?
older I get, the less I enjoy it.
What? That's the exact opposite for me.
Yeah. Truthfully. Yeah. I think rational thinkers is probably the ones that I enjoy negotiating with most.
Mm-hmm. And people that understand the rules like you do?
Not necessarily, because I totally understand. Like, I don't understand what it takes to do what you do in the day. So I don't just expect them to know what I know. Not that it's a ton, but it's like I just need a level of rationale that's constant. When you got zigging and zagging going on, it's really hard to like triangulate something.
Right. Yeah. And distill it down to exactly what people want. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. We're going back to behind the scenes.
Ooh.
Why do you like to stay so low profile?
I don't know why you say that.
You do.
What? Just because I don't like post stuff, or what? Why?
No,
why do you say
I'm not
that?
talking about social media. I'm talking about like you just don't like to toot your own horn.
I mean, truthfully, I have an awesome wife and incredible 3 kids. I have a really good family, and awesome brothers, and I'm super grateful for that. In business, like, I think we've reached a level of success that's great. But at the end of the day, like, we're service providers. We start over the first of every month back at 0. I have at any given time 50 bosses slapping me around on any different issue.
Yeah. By bosses, you mean people that you guys
clients,
are serving,
customers.
Yeah, clients,
And there's not a whole, and I don't want to sound ungrateful, but there's not a high level of like, when you say low profile, I mean, I don't know. It's not like I, won the lottery or like did a startup, that makes money while I'm hanging out on the beach in Hawaii. We have to take our money we make, in the hamster wheel and redeploy that to generate that cash flow.
Yeah,
and
but everyone that is in sales, maybe it's because we have such a big sales community here in Utah, but like we have a huge like community of door-to-door sales guys here in Utah. We also have, to your point, a large community of real estate salespeople. And I think that there is this like, a lot of the salespeople that I've encountered are flashy. They're always telling you big things, and then you lift up the hood and there's not much there. And I feel like you guys just are so opposite of that.
Well, I mean, I think we are raised well. That's one thing. My father was never flashy. He was like one of the youngest fire chiefs in Oregon history. He raised 6 kids on his income. He was just shy of his doctorate's degree, super, intelligent, successful guy. And he was never opulent ever. And there was, many reasons why he could be. So I think part of just the way we were brought up, but then also, we're in a service industry. It's like, and our customers are like, we could go live on a payment and act as if we live a lifestyle we don't, but then that just throws me in the hamster wheel 5 more years.
Right.
And I get that. And then also, like, back to the relationships conversation, like, the customers that we resonate with, that I consider friends and long-standing, like, most of our clientele are years and years and years of relationship there. Number one, like, who am I kidding? They know me,
Right.
And they don't want to see me pull up in a whatever, Yeah. They don't want to see a Ferrari out front. Truthfully, they don't. And if I did pull up in that, they might get weirded out a little bit. Like,
I would be weirded out because I don't want to hear country music blasting from a Ferrari.
Good point.
Yeah, no,
that's
it's
a good
just
point.
There's a disconnect there.
That's a good point. Yeah, but yeah, no, that's just not Yeah.
No, I really admire it about you guys. I think that it comes from, from the outside perspective, and I could be totally wrong, and you correct me if you think I am, but I think it all comes from like you guys really valuing relationships over anything. And so if you were out spending all the money and being flashy and spending a ton of money on advertising and doing all of that stuff, like at the end of the day, it's your customer that you get it from. You know, that's where the money comes from.
That's exactly right.
And I think you guys are way more interested in a long-term relationship with someone than like squeezing every dime out of the person first time around.
Completely agree. And we understand it's a tit for tat. Like, I hate these things. I did this because you're a friend, and you know
hate
we
podcasts?
work together.
What things
like,
are you saying specifically?
You know,
you pointed at me when you said you hate these
yeah,
things.
no, but it's like, you know, we get that, and like, you know, we have a large sponsorship of the Jazz. We have a long-standing relationship, you know, with ownership there, and do quite a bit with them, and so, you know, we understand what takes the world to go around, right? We're a big sponsor of Silk and Slopes because a lot of those companies there are our customers, and we want to support that. So,
right, but you could also have in Utah on I-15, which is the main highway that goes through where we live. There's billboards literally like every quarter of a mile, probably more than that. And you guys could have billboards all the way up and down I-15, and you just don't. You just let your work speak for yourself.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the smartest thing or not, but we haven't. We probably should put more up there. Maybe they have something figured out. We don't, because I think they work a lot less than we do.
I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that's true. What is one lesson that you learned early on in your business that is still true today?
You're asking all those hard questions. Prepare properly for that. I mean, I think in business, you know, first class. I mean, you got to take care of your customers. Period. And everything else falls into place. I mean, you gotta. At the hardest time to take care of them is when you win a customer for life. You know. You know, when your reward is zero or even costs you money to get there, you know, it breeds loyalty.
Yeah.
And the earlier we can engage in that relationship and grow with them, the stronger that bond is. I think we just learned that, you know, early on, take care of the customer, go above and beyond.
What's some advice you would give young Woodley?
I probably wouldn't have sold some of my BYU investments early on in my career.
Your college housing?
Yeah.
You owned housing down there?
Some condos and things, yeah, and some house and whatnot. But you know, I learned to hold on to them a little bit later. Should have kept some of those. I probably like, you know, I don't know. Kids grow up really fast.
They do.
I've taken more video of my kids.
I'm going to cry right now. Stop.
They
How
go
old
by
are your
fast.
girls?
So my twins are 16.
Are they juniors right now or seniors?
They're sophomores. And they just got invited out to their first dance and 2 nights ago, and prom.
Yeah.
And, you know, and they just got their license in December, so we don't see them near as much.
Yeah.
So, and then our 11-year-old, he's a child for life. He's special needs, autism.
Yeah.
So, you know, we'll have him forever. But, yeah. So life's backwards. When you have all the money, you don't have the time. And when you don't have the money, you don't have the time.
Yeah,
so it's tricky.
It is backwards.
Yeah. Try to have good balance.
You do good, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, you always have your little boy with you on the weekends, and you're always...
Yep.
I loved that jazz game your girls did last year for, what was it for?
They have it coming up again.
Do they have a foundation? Is that
it's
what
called
they have?
Project Extraordinary, and it's basically it's a platform that helps support siblings of special needs kids, because, you know, it's one thing that, you know, as a parent of a special needs, but as a sibling of a special needs child, it's like breeds its own challenges. And so we try and just create a night out for those siblings that focuses on them, where they don't have their, you know, challenging or high touch sibling there. And just try and have fun. And then also you can kind of relate, and so, hopefully you have those casual conversations that might help with, different, needs or struggles or, successes there.
Yeah, it's really cool.
It's pretty cool. Yeah.
Okay. Where is the real estate? What's happening? What do we need to watch out for right now?
Oh boy, the crystal ball.
Yeah.
I just asked the banker that on the phone before I came here. I'm like, okay, so do we lock in that 10-year rate today, or are they going to go down a little bit, or what do you think? The answer is we don't know.
Okay.
So
this same as it's been for the last 3 years.
We thought it was going to have a hard turn 7 years ago. We've been wrong for 7 years.
Okay.
And you know how I like predictability and rationale in relationships? I like some predictability in the market, and the market's zero predictable right now, and it's completely irrational. The fact that stocks are where they are, and the fact that, investments have held strong or pretty close to strong on sales price when interest rates have tripled, it just doesn't make sense. So we're kind of in this weird period. And so what I tell people is, in 2023, I don't feel like you get rewarded for taking a lot of risk. I think you get dollar cost average into the market, meaning, if you're going to throw 10 grand at it, $300 a month or something into that asset class or whatever it is. And over the year period, maybe you don't get totally burnt because you're going to see a lot of volatility. But for us personally, we're just kind of watching the market. Things still don't pencil, meaning you can't go and buy an investment with yield where it is. And cash flow. You'll be in a negative leverage situation. I mean, you're buying it an in-place cap or return at 5% when rates are at 6+.
Yeah.
And so if you don't use all cash, which is difficult for most of us, you end up having to feed that investment monthly. That
Can you
work.
Still buy down your interest rate right now?
You can buy it down. Absolutely. Yeah. I'm not as familiar on that front on the resi side, but yeah, people are doing that often. That's how a lot of these home builders are incentivizing buyers to still close. They're artificially creating a lower rate for a couple years by an upfront expense.
Yeah.
But then it balloons back up. So you can't have too short of a memory on that, right?
Yeah.
Because come and catch you pretty quick.
Yeah. What advice would you have for someone entering a new real estate agent? Don't do it.
Yeah. So I would say, if you have passion and you're hardworking and, you take the long approach on it, I think it can be a great career for someone. I think it's got a little bit of the wrong, kind of idea though for most, where they feel like, oh, real estate, you don't work that much, golf all the time, you can do have 5 irons in the fire and and still make it work. I think it needs to be if you're gonna do it, you got to be all in full time, or it's not gonna work. Or you're gonna provide crappy service and have little pops here and there, but not repeat business, and in the long run, you'll probably kind of end up struggling. It'll be hard for you. I think you got to be all in.
Okay. Well, we've made it to the rapid fire section where I ask you.
I thought you were going to say we were there. I was like, man, this is good.
No, we have a little bit longer, but you're doing great.
Okay.
Yeah. Who's your favorite brother?
My favorite brother.
Yeah. We're coming out swinging.
I like that. Depends on what week you ask me.
Okay.
Today, it would probably be my brother Bryson, because I went to his birthday lunch today at Tsunami.
It's his birthday?
It's a few days late, but yes.
Happy birthday, Bryson.
It's 45 big ones.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Who's your least favorite brother today? J-Dub?
Probably my brother Ryan, because he showed up late to that lunch. It was a brother's lunch. So...
I don't know if I've met Ryan.
He's the oldest. So, well, my half brother's the oldest, but yeah.
How did you not know about your half brother?
we weren't disclosed of the situation until I was married in 25. So he knew about us. We didn't know about him.
Wow.
My mom knew, but yeah, my dad had a kid when he was younger. And
was he adopted?
My father thought he was adopted, but he was never adopted. No.
Oh.
She's got raised by his mom. Great guy. Looks a lot like us. Successful. We see him every year. Comes to family reunions. Good
Does
guy.
he have the same mannerisms as you guys?
Yeah, except he's like a lot more manly. Like he hunts and gathers and wrenches on cars, and we have to take him to the shop and buy our meat at Costco. So. Throw that inhaler over here. We're gonna lose her.
That was really good. Okay, who's your favorite kid?
Ty.
Oh, he's sweet. Early bird or night owl?
Early bird, 100%.
How'd you land your wife?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I don't know. I definitely punched out of my weight class.
Yeah, is she blind? Just kidding.
Easy.
Just kidding.
Now, when I met her, I was like 40 pounds lighter. I hoodwinked her good.
How do you unwind?
I'm getting better at it.
Okay.
I don't always. So Monday through Wednesday is kind of like go time. I start to unwind like on Thursday, and Friday I try not to do any meetings. So Saturday and Sunday is, I feel like I can be coherent of what's going on at home, but I don't always, I'm not always successful at that.
Do you feel like there was a time where you were working all the time and then there was like a conscious decision to try to stop?
Early on, I'd work some Saturdays and whatnot, but I've been pretty fortunate that I feel like I've had decent amount of balance, but true quality time where my brain's there 100%. Yeah, I feel like I could do better,
Yeah.
That's just part of, I think, my older brother Ryan, he spoke at like the BYU engineering program, and he articulated the best. But I think most people that excel at certain things in life certainly have imbalance at periods of their life. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, you're just kind of mediocre at everything your whole life.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I've definitely tried to fill the work bucket. So we're in a situation where later on in life when maybe I'm even 40 pounds heavier and people don't like me.
Yeah, right.
I, don't have to be slinging real estate, but yeah.
Okay. Do you guys have like a favorite vacation you like to do with your fam?
My kids love going back to the farm. That's probably their favorite thing they like to do.
In Oregon?
In Oregon. And then we love going to Cabo. We like going down there. We always like the sunshine, same time zone, quick direct flight. And we really like that. We enjoy that. And we love New York at Christmas time.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah.
Okay, last question.
Ooh.
You did it. Can you believe it?
I can believe it.
I'm really proud of you.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, what legacy are you trying to build?
Yeah, I've thought a little bit about that over the last few years. I think, ever since I turned 40, you kind of like start thinking like, man, I'm like half dead. I don't know about legacy, but I think, I want to be as close as I can to my, friends and family. I feel like, I don't know what it is that I'll, really get behind as far as like the give back piece of that, that we all should engage in, certainly we have a, more visual challenge at home that, with our son that, we'll probably lean into more. But as far as legacy goes, I just want my, kids and family and, to know that, I think about them more than, other things that maybe don't matter as much. I don't know.
I really like that. That's good. Well, Eric, you did it. Now you're a podcaster.
Uh-oh. Get all those coughs out now.